Alrighty, everybody, welcome back. This is your host, ID Jester. We're going to be looking today at some more 4th Street software program. This is their baseball edition, and I'm excited to bring that to you guys today. As you know, over the weekend, we ended up buying some of their computer digital versions as well as card and dice, and I got a notice that has been shipped out. Should be here, I think, on Thursday. So before the board game arrives, I wanted to show everyone on the computer what the digital is like and kind of go over a tutorial, kind of introduce it to people. I, along with a lot of people out there, completely forget about this game when people go, oh, hey, what kind of, I'm looking for a baseball game, what game might be good for me to get, and blah, blah, blah. And it's because this is like a one-man show, and, it's just not super mainstream, and at least not now, but hopefully once we get a chance to introduce some stuff to you guys, hopefully it'll be a little bit more in the mix with people and get more people involved and get more people to think about it and more people to try it out, more people to play it. You can actually download the baseball board game digitally as a there's like a couple sample teams and all the rules and everything that you need to play a sample game. You can actually download the 4th Street computer PC demo. Again, same thing, the program I'm going to be showing you, with kind of a couple teams to try it out. So he gives you the opportunity to try this out for free to see and see if it's something you might be interested in, which I think is great. So anyways, we're going to get into it. I'm going to go over some stuff. And I'm going to tell you, I just can't believe this is one dude. Like, one guy makes baseball, basketball, hockey, and football most all the seasons for all those sports, plus has a board game version, plus has a digital version of all these things. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And it is super duper advanced. It is not like just your basic everyday run-of-the-mill program. This is, as you can see behind me in the picture, you have the layout of the actual walls on the board. You have positions for your players, which you can move. So when you put your infield in, you actually take your infield and move them in. Yes, that's how involved it is. It is not just roll the dice, get the result, and move on. This is, there's a lot of stuff going on in this game. So we're going to go through it slow. We're going to introduce it to you guys. So if you have any questions, leave it down in the comments down below or contact 4th Street Software if you're interested. Again, you can download the board game version as a demo for free. You can download the demo version of the computer program for free and try it out. I think for all the sports it's that way. So just keep that in mind. And like I said, I don't mind supporting people when they're doing a great job. I've known this guy for 20 plus years. Now we lost contact for a while in there, and he went his way, I went my way. Mostly I went my way, and just didn't keep up with what I was doing with him. But he actually kept my files. You can go to the freebie section or the add-on section on his website. He still has the hockey files that I uploaded like 20 years ago. You can still download the fan files. Go get my fan files if you're playing the computer game. He still has those. So it's crazy. This guy is a one-man show. He remembers me. We talked years and years ago, and we were online buddies, and And then, like I said, we kind of lost touch. I went my way. I just stopped doing sports. I did other things, and now I'm coming back. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember you." I don't know why, but okay, great. Anyways, this is a very advanced, in-depth game. This is not just roll the dice and get the result. This is going to take me a little while to explain it. Okay, it's going to take me a little while to explain it. So don't think this is going to be like a 10-minute tutorial. This might be an hour or two tutorial because I want to go through it. It's important for you to understand how to play the game. And this is, like I said, this is not just your run-of-the-mill average. You actually have to roll. Now, how many baseball games do you know where you start off rolling to get the count that the batter has on him? So that's how involved this game is. You start off by rolling the dice to get the count that is on the batter, whether it's 0-2, 2-0, 3-2, 1-2, whatever the count is. You get that first, and that adjusts the strength of the hitter based upon the count. So, again, this is a super complex, in-depth. I cannot believe this is one guy. You would think if it's one dude, you'd be like, oh, this game is going to be super simple. But when I show you this computer program, you're going to be like, what? There's no way one dude made this. There's no way. But we're gonna show it to you if I can get the right button. Where is my desktop? No, is it desktop one? It is desktop one. There we go. All right, congratulations, RJL. What's going on, man? I did download the game some time ago. I did like it. Just wasn't my cup of tea, as I don't have any negative words for it. Yeah, completely understand. Completely understand. It's not everyone's cup of tea. I'm telling you that. I'm telling you that right now, guys. You might find that you love this game, and you might find that it's way too much for you, or it might be like, oh, this game is perfect. So, let me add in my camera so you guys can see me. I'm actually going to move this over to the other side. Move it down. That's the wrong camera. No wonder it's acting all weird. Really? Okay, we'll add it back in the hard way. There we go. There we go. There we go. There you go. All right, so there we go. Again, I don't want to scare people away saying, oh, this is super complex and this is very difficult and blah, 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 right? But I don't want people coming into this thinking, oh, he's just teaching me a new baseball game and this will be 5-10 minutes and it'll be done. And why is this guy going on for like an hour or 2 hours talking about it? Like, the rule book for this game is like, it's big font and there's lots of spaces and examples and stuff, but it's like 68 pages long. It is an in-depth game. Every time, like I said, you're moving your little pieces around the board. So you have to learn about how the board works, right? You have to learn about how positioning on the board works. You have to learn about, again, you start this game off with a roll to see what the count is against the batter. Is it a good count? Is it a bad count? Right? So, anyways, just keep that in mind. It might not be your cup of tea because, wow, this game is really complex. I'm not looking for something that complex. Or this game might be perfect for you because it's like, wow, I get to really feel like I'm part of the action, part of the game. But for me, and I think a lot of people out there, understanding how the game plays is part of the hurdle to whether I'm not going to like this game or not. Like, I don't know, am I going to like this or not? If you don't know how to play the game, you're not going to know if you like this option or not, right? If you don't understand how to play the game. So that's what this is. I'm going to teach you the basics about how the game operates and what you do. Okay, and then we're going to play through some games. I'm going to introduce the computer version because it's easier than the dice on the table and holding cards up to the camera and everything. At least you can see everything in focus on the digital. But the digital version is just a digital board game. It's the exact same thing with the exact same rules, the exact same everything how you do it. It's just digitally done, so it's easy for you to see, and all the fine details is done by the computer. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Let's get to it and see where we go. All right, Doug Hunt and Doug Sessions. We got too many Dougs in the house, that's for sure. Woo! Good to see you guys. All right, so I am just going to kind of introduce the program, just a general overview of the program. As you can see, it's pretty decent looking. I mean, it's not the super fanciest thing in the whole world, but again, this is like one guy that owns the company, does hockey, baseball, basketball, and football. And he's got all of the seasons for all the games you want. So if you want like the 1978 season, he probably has it. And again, board, card and dice, and computer for all four of his sports. Anyways, as you can see, there's all kinds of options. I'm not going to get into too much detail here in the program, but there's ways to do things like team management. You can go in the team management. You can actually manage the teams and the players and their usage and all the crazy stuff that comes along with that. You can go in and adjust your rotations for your different teams. You can go in and adjust your starting lineups for your teams. You can go in and look at all your stats for the teams. So you can see the Angels here in Kansas City. That was the game we just played, which was won by Kansas City 6-3. Here's all the stats. Here's all the stats from the game. This is the game that was just before we started the live stream. I played through a couple games just to get more familiar with it, just to get more experience with it. This is the game that was, and here's the game log. Like, here's what happened in the game log. Yes, wow. I mean, this one dude made all this stuff. And I'm telling you, if you are a stat junkie and you love clicking on things and you love building things and you love analyzing things, you're going to love this game. Holy crap. Let's go to our hitting, what was that? Hitting, league stats, hitting, or pitching. What do you want to look at? It doesn't matter. How about, what do we got here? Pitching league. Here we go. You want to get into stats. You want to look at who's hitting, who's not hitting, what's the ratings. All this stuff you can do. There's all kinds of just crazy good stuff. Obviously, you have your different divisions and you have your different teams in there. Again, I can go to, say, the Central Division here. And here's St. Louis. And, I actually, for all the National League teams, I imported all of the logos. So you can see the Cardinals have their logo. And the Cubs have their logo. And Pittsburgh should have their logo. There we go. Should have their logo. What else can you do? Schedule. You can edit the schedule. If you wanted to edit your schedule, you could do that. Why? I don't know. What else can you do? You can adjust the ballparks and the weather. This is part of the game, is understanding the ballparks and the weather and all that, because you're going to be using this. A lot of games, like, if we're looking at just a game just because it happened to be sitting here, obviously, this is a ballpark card for Atlanta, right? So you got a little bit of lefty-righty split action on it, a little bit of wheelhouse, and not too in-depth, right? Compared to this game where you can see it's actually broken down into 15 different sections from A all the way to O, and then it's broken down into 20 different zones depending on the depth. And of course, each different area is broken up into, it has the outfield wall. So you can see in section A and B and C and D, it's only 328 feet down the line. And then section E goes to 379 feet. Section F, G, H is 404 feet, etc., etc. So understanding positioning your players on this grid map is obviously going to be very important. Then you also deal with weather, which is wind direction either in or out. You have precipitation, and then you have heat and cold, which can adjust some stats. All right, so obviously very important stuff to know how to play. So you can get in and edit each of the ballparks. If you wanted to do these things, you could. I don't know who would want to, but you could. You can go to the medical and see who's on medical, having injuries or whatever. The manager, editor, but just if you wanted to edit your AI computer manager, you can go in and do that. For whatever reason, you could do it if you wanted to. I think it would be important. No, not really. But, I mean, if you are into that kind of things, sure. Data importer, you can import and export your data. And season melder, whatever that does. Again, I'm not going to get into too much detail. I'm just going over the fact that there's a ton of stuff going on here. And I mean a ton of stuff that you can get in and mess around with and analyze and, you know, really get into the nitty gritty and see the behind the scenes. But that's not really what I'm here. I'm here to teach you not how to run the computer program. And that's not really what I'm going to try to do. What I'm going to try to do is teach you how to understand how to play the basic baseball game, because it's, again, complex. So let's talk about it. Let's get into a game. As you can see, we've already played opening day. Of course, I got the best baseball season ever, 2011. And so we're on opening day, which is March 31st. You can see our little calendar here. We already played Milwaukee at Cincinnati. Cincinnati won 9-5. We played San Francisco at the Dodgers. Dodgers won 7-0. San Diego 4, St. Louis 3. That's the game. Carpenter was just absolutely rolling San Diego till the 7th inning, and all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. And before you know it, I looked up, there was 4 runs on the board. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, how did that happen? How did that even happen? And then Atlanta beat Washington 3-1, and Anaheim beat Kansas City beat Anaheim 6-3. And then we got Detroit and the Yankees, which is the game we're going to play today. So you can see we just simply click on it. It shows us the visiting team and the home team, the records. We can hit resume or ready. We're going to click on the ready button. Boom. Because, oops, let's, can I go back? Yeah, let's go back. Because you can see on this scheduler here, right, at the bottom of the scheduler, it's got all kinds of different, again, lots of buttons, lots of options and stuff, but the most important one is this bottom one that says use as played schedule. So all I have to do is check this box right here, boom, as opposed to use originally scheduled. Check use as played scheduled, which means when I play this game, it is going to have the starting lineups for them actually that played the game. So just like if you go to Baseball Reference or whatever, it's going to have all the players in there ready to go in the, blah, blah, blah. So Austin Jackson, center field, batted first. Will Rhymes, second baseman, batted second. Maglio Ordonez, right fielder, batted third. Miguel Cabrera, first base, batted fourth. Victor Martinez, the DH, batted fifth. Ryan Rayburn, left field, batted sixth. Johnny Peralta, shortstop, batted seventh. Brandon Eage, eighth, third baseman. And Alex Avila, the catcher, batted ninth. Pitching, Justin Verlander. That's all set up. I don't have to touch anything. It shows you over here on the left the players that are in the lineup and their positions. And you can see that for the visitor and the home team. Brett Garner, Derek Jeter, Mark Teixeira, Alex Rodriguez, Robinson Cano, Nick Swisher, Jorge Posada, Curtis Granderson, and Martin Russell. Pitching today, CC Sabathia. There you go. Now down on the bottom, we can play normal. We can play with the helper. We can auto play it. We can run the schedule. and we can keep score of a board game while playing. So we can actually just use this and play our board game and just use this program to keep score. Now, how cool is that? I mean, the things this guy thought of is, just crazy. I don't understand. I'm crazy. So we're gonna play. We're gonna have the AI play Detroit just to make things a little interesting. I will no. I will play both sides because this way I'll be able to show you things a little easier than having the computer auto doing it. So I'm going to just select human for both teams. I could select AI for both, or I can, move and adjust these however I wanted. And then I say, okay, boom. And there you go. There we are. We are at Yankee Stadium. So this is in the Bronx in New York, and we are getting ready to play. All right, so here we go. All right. Woo. So the first thing that happens when you set up a game, whether you're playing the board game version or the digital version, you're going to roll for the weather. Again, you're going to check the wind. You're going to check whether the wind is calm, whether the wind is coming in or going out, because that'll adjust your outfield power numbers, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. You'll also check to see if there's any rain, and then the temperature, which if it falls below a certain degree is super cool, and if it's above a certain temperature, then it's hot, and that can adjust some fatigue on your starting pitchers. In this case, the weather's calm with winds at 5 miles an hour, 59 degrees, and no signs of precipitation. So basically, the numbers here, okay, the numbers up here show us what was rolled. Unless you have the charts, you're not going to know if those, what that is. But I'm going to explain those here in a minute. Let's just obviously the dice rolls are here to show you. So the way this is read in the computer program is the top line where it says 97. Those are percentile dice. So basically 97 was rolled. And it was just those two dice. That was going to be for the wind. So obviously that meant it was a calm day. Then the second number, or the second row, where it says 1, 1, 11, and then it has two 6-sided dice, that's the second roll. There are many times you'll roll twice in this game to get a result. Not all the time, but some of the time you can get a result in one play. If not, you have to roll the dice again. So you will see that there's a top roll and then there is a bottom roll. So the 11 is, again, percentile dice. The 11 that's inside the one hexagon looking thing is a 20-sided dice. Then we have the two red 6-sided dice, and those are normally added together to get a result of 7. So we had an 11% chance, or 11 was rolled, and that determined whether it was going to be, if there was any, let's see, the first thing is the wind, then the second thing is the precipitation, and then the third is going to be your temperature. So those results are rolled on the charts, and that's the outcome that you get. Okay, so we're going to hit begin game, and all right, whew, we got through that. That's pretty good. Okay, so again, very complex, in-depth game. You guys are going to be amazed, I think, because I'm amazed. All right, so when we all watch baseball, what is the 3 things, right, that come into play whenever your team is up to bat or your team is pitching, right? Right. The most important thing is what happens with the player count. Is your player 0-2? Oh, Jesus, he's 0-2. He can't hit a curveball, blah, 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 right? So you always start with the count in this game. So the count gives you a result. This, let me start completely over again, because in all of 4th Street's games, whether it's baseball, hockey, football, basketball, it always boils down each play into what we call a matchup. There's going to be two players that are matching up, and depending on the dice rolls, one player is going to win the matchup, the other player is going to lose the matchup. And then based upon who wins, you're going to take that and roll some dice, usually on their card or on their side. And usually, not always, but usually, that player usually ends up doing better if it comes off of their card. So, for example, if the pitcher wins the matchup, that usually means it's going to be an out. Usually, not always, but usually means it's going to be probably a good defensive play, or it's going to be a strikeout, or it's going to be something positive if the pitcher wins. If the batter wins, it usually, again, not always, but usually means it's going to be better result. He might get a hit, or he might, squeak one through, or he might get a double, he might get a home run, whatever. So usually you want the result to come on either, if you're playing, if you're rooting for the team at the bat, you usually want that player to win the matchup. But all of his games is based upon the matchup between two players, and what the outcome is will determine the result. Okay, so the first thing that's going to happen in this game, baseball, is you're going to get a play result. And we're going to just get the count here. As it rolls on the pitcher, and in this case, let's see, Detroit's at bat, so it's going to be CC Sabathia. Okay, so we rolled a 0-1 count. Well, how do we know that? Well, Jester, what? Okay, so what we can do is we can actually click on CC Sabathia and bring up his card, and it'll show you his detailed card breakout. And there's a lot of detail here for a guy that created this game by himself. There's a lot of details here, but basically you start over here on the left, and that is the count. Depending on when he rolls, anywhere from percentile from 0 up to 99, 0 up to 99, you're going to get a count result. And those are going to adjust each of your different let's look at who's at pitching and who's at bat, because it'll make a little bit more sense. Okay, so CC Sabathia is a left-handed thrower. He's a left-handed thrower. Okay, and Austin Jackson is up, and he's a righty. I can see that because it shows me right over here on the side. All right-handers have got the pink. All the lefties are blue. And then purple is they do both. So Austin Jackson is a right-hander. So when I compare, again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Austin Jackson and I'm going to compare him against either the pitcher or the outfielder it was hit to, or the ballpark. So it's not necessarily just the hitter versus the pitcher. Okay, it starts this way, but it might not end this way. Okay, so Austin Jackson is, let's look at Austin Jackson here. So here's Austin Jackson versus a left-handed pitcher. Okay, if he's going up against CC Sabathia, you can see he starts off with a 14. That's basically the higher number is his better. He's a better player because again, we're going to take his number and subtract CC Sabathia's number from it. So CC Sabathia is saying 9, 14 minus 9 is 3. If CC Sabathia was say a 3, 14 minus 3 is 11. So higher numbers means you're better. So in this case, Austin Jackson against a left-handed pitcher is worth 14 points. If he's going against the infield, he's 15 points. If he's going against the outfield, it's 15 points. And if it's a power shot, which we'll talk about, he's a 0. Okay? And you can see versus right-handers he would have different numbers versus a right-handed pitcher. He would be a 13, a 15, a 14, and a 0. Anyways, let's just go with remembering Austin Jackson against CC Sabathia is a 14 to start. Let's just say he's a 14 to start. Okay. CC, on the other hand, CC Sabathia versus a right-handed batter right here is either a 9 with the fastball or a 7 with the breaking ball. Yes, we're going to talk about that here in a second. Not only do you get the count, but then you determine what kind of pitch you're going to throw, which, again, we'll talk about here in a second. So we'll just assume he is either going to be a 7 or a 9, depending on what we didn't do. But the reason I was going through all these numbers is the number for Austin Jackson, again, he starts at, what did we say it was against CC? Is a 14, right? Those numbers are going to go up or down based upon the count. For every ball he has, he gets a +1, and for every strike he has, he gets a -1. So in this case, the count is 0-1, which means he's down a point. He's got 0 balls and 1 strike, which means there's a -1 to his rating. Because again, the pitcher's kind of, winning the matchup, so to speak, right? He's doing better against this batter. He's got a better count against him, so it's going to be harder for the batter to win. So his ratings go down by a point. If it was 0-2 count, right, he's going to be down 2 points. If it's 1-2, he's going to be down 1 point, because you just basically take the amount of balls and you subtract the amount of strikes, and that gets your whatever the difference is. If it's 2-2, nothing. There's no adjustment. If it's 3 balls and 1 strike, he's actually a +2 to his rating because he's in a hitter's count, right? Doesn't that make sense to you guys? Let's hope it makes sense, because it makes sense to me. So Austin Jackson is down in the count 0-1. Okay? So here comes the next part of the game, which is you never see this very much. I think Baseball Mogul, I played some Baseball Mogul, kind of has a little bit something like this, where you're actually determining the pitch that you're using, and if you're playing face-to-face with someone, right, you're choosing the pitch and they're choosing the pitch, and then you're flipping them up simultaneously, and what you're trying to do is, as the batter, you're trying to guess the right pitch. If you guess the right pitch, you get a bonus. If you guess the wrong pitch, you get a penalty because, the pitcher fooled you with his pitch. So not only do we get we get a count to start things, but then we have to determine, do we want to go with the fastball, or do we want to go, is he going to throw me a fastball, or is he going to throw me a curveball? Now, CC Sabathia against the left-handed batters is actually a 10 with the fastball and a 9 with the breaking ball. So if I guess fastball and I'm correct, right, he's still going to get his 10 points, but I'm going to get a +2. But if I guess fastball and he goes with the breaking ball, CC Sabathia is only going to get 9 points, but I'm going to get a -2. So there's a little strategy in what I'm going to pick and what I'm not going to pick. But fortunately for you guys, there's a chart that the game will automatically roll for you. And if you don't want to deal with all that trying to figure it out, you can actually just say, go with random. I'm impartial, right? I'm not going to, I would say, you know what? All right, I'm going to pick one this time. I'm going to say, Austin Jackson he's going to guess fastball. And then for the computer pitcher, I'm just going to go random. Now, did he pick the right one or did he not pick the right one? I don't know. Let's see. Boom. All right. So, that's crazy. Why is that so big? There we go. I'm not sure why that was super big like that. So, we have an outcome already. It is the windup and the pitch just from Sabathia. It's a hard hit ball to Cano. He's got it, and he looks to first for the out. There's one out. Okay, so that's what happened. Now you have to understand how the dice rolls came into play and how we got that outcome. Because understanding how and why is understanding the game and making you like, oh, I like this because I understand what I'm doing. If you're just clicking, okay, go to the next play, go to the next play, go to the next play, you're not playing the game. All you're doing is clicking a button, right? All you're doing is clicking the button. If you want to learn how to play the game so you can see the results and, ooh, wait, what's going on? So everything as we talked about, start here. Everything starts with the count. Remember the first thing we did, right? We went to the count and we rolled somewhere between 6, 7, and 24. Whatever the number was, percentile dice, we rolled, let's say it was a 22, right? Because anything 0 to 6 puts us on the 0, 0. Anything from 7 to 24 puts us on 0 to 1. Anything from 25 to 41 puts us on this count, blah, 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 blah. And then if it's over 79, 80 to 99 always come off the batters. So you can go to the batters card, the batter, here's Austin Jackson right there. He actually has 80 to 99 on his card. So the pitcher doesn't always determine the count. Sometimes the batters determine the count. Not always, but sometimes, which makes perfect sense again, right? It makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we started with the count, and we got that count. It was 0-1, which made Austin Jackson lose a point to CC Sabathia. The next thing we did was we guessed fastball, and guess what? It was a fastball. You can see we guessed fastball. CC Sabathia threw a fastball, and so we get a bonus for that. All right, so the second thing that happens is all these dice get rolled, and we're going to go through this super slow the first couple times, maybe 2 or 3 times. We're going to go through it super slow so you understand. Then we'll start picking up the pace because once you get it, you get it, okay? Again, the first 2 numbers are percentile dice. So you guess, you get a count, you roll the dice, and you get a count. Okay, we've got a count. Then both players put down fastball or breaking ball, and you see whether you're right or wrong, and then you're going to roll all the dice to get the play started. So all this kind of happens before the play. And when the play happens, you always go to the pitcher's card against left-handers or right-handers, and it tells you what happened. And in this case, 72, okay, the 7 and the 2 that are green and white are percentile dice. So that goes from 0 to 100. They rolled a 72 on that. And so versus a right-hander, which is Austin Jackson, you find 72. 72 falls between 49 and 94. So it's going to be on this 94, which means versus pitcher. So versus pitcher is what we got. All right? So what we're going to be doing is something is going to go down between the batter and the pitcher. Something is going down. Normally, not always, but normally that means a strikeout or a walk or some kind of hit by pitch, a wild pitch. Something is happening between the pitcher and the batter. Okay, the outfielders, the ballpark, none of that comes into play. All right, now, as I talked about to start all this, is every play in any 4th Street game, whether it's basketball, baseball, hockey, or football, always comes down to a matchup between 2 players. And this is how this one is done. It's slightly different than the football one that we did. The football one, you took the offensive player and you subtracted the defensive player from the 10-sided dice and between their numbers, and then you compared it to 10-sided dice. In this game, similarly, you take Austin Jackson and you subtract CC Sabathia and you compare it to a 20-sided dice. That's what the second number is here. Okay, so whoever wins the matchup is going to be determined by that 20-sided dice. That is technically the most important dice that you're rolling is the 20-sided dice, because that's going to determine who wins. And again, normally if you win the matchup, you usually have good things happen. Usually, right? Now you can have bad things happen occasionally, but normally you're going to have good things happen. So we rolled 72, which means we go down the chart, boom, and we got to first pitcher, which means again, it's going to be something happening between the batter and the pitcher. And then we're going to determine who wins the matchup. So again, we're going to go back to this. Now that you understand that, it's going to make a little more sense. When we look at Austin Jackson versus a left-handed pitcher, he's a 14, right? Austin Jackson versus a left-handed pitcher is a 14. He lost a point because the count was 0-1. So again, he would get pluses for balls, minuses for strikes. So he loses a point. So his 14 goes down to 13. 13 for, can you guys see that? 13. Yeah, I was right this time. 13. So he lost a point because the count was against him. Okay? But because he guessed right on the fastball, he gains 2 points. When you guess right, you gain 2 points. If you guess wrong, you lose 2 points. So 13 plus 2 is 15. So Austin Jackson's final total is going to be 15. That's his total ability for this play, which will be adjusted every time he comes up based upon the pitcher he's facing, the count he's facing, and whether he guessed right or wrong on the pitch. What are the 3 things that every time when a batter comes up, those are the most important things. And it's super cool how those 3 things all come into play with this each and every play in this baseball game. So, Austin Jackson is a 15. In fact, I know it's a 15 because a lot of you probably see this, but up on the top of the screen up there, right? It has Austin Jackson is a 15 there, right? So he's got 15 points. And you can see underneath that is CC Sabathia is a 9. So we take 15 and we subtract 9. What do we get? We get 6. We get 6, right? So 15 is Jackson's strength. 9 is Sabathia's strength. You take the batter and subtract the pitcher. 15 minus 9 is 6. So if the D20 result is 6 or less, the batter wins. Anything else, the pitcher wins. So you can see our D20 result was an 18. So I can look at the D20 result and say 18, more than likely the pitcher is going to win this matchup because there was hardly any time. There was it's very hard. Like even if you're playing against the worst pitcher, they're still going to give you 1 or 2 points. So you have to literally have like a 19 and be against like a 1 pitcher and you would still win on an 18. But that's never going to probably happen very often, right? So in this case, we know the outcome was the pitcher wins. Okay, so one of 3 things is going to happen, right? So either the batter is going to win or the pitcher is going to win. And then there also could be going to the fielder. As you can see, there's actually 3 parts of this. There's the pitcher, there's the hitter, and then there's the fielder. In this case, was there a fielder? I don't know. Let's look. So on CC, so we've 72. We figured out, it's between the batter and the pitcher. We got that. The next die is the 20. Looks like CC Sabathia wins the matchup. When CC Sabathia wins the matchup, the pitcher, you look at the pitcher's card, right? If the batter wins the matchup, guess which card you look at? The batter card. And finally, if the pitcher, or if the pitcher wins the matchup, but it goes to a different position, right? It's not between, and you guys are going to see this, it's not between the pitcher and the batter anymore. It's between the batter and all your outfielders, which I'm sure we'll see sometime shortly. Anyways, the next dice that are rolled are the 2d6s. You add those together. In this case, we got a 6 and a 6, which is a 12. That's a weird result. You're not going to get that very often, but of course we got it right off the bat, which gives us on CC Sabathia versus a right-handed batter. We look under his 12 column, and that's going to give us a 74. Now we can actually go to our random number generator here and tell us, what does that mean? It means it's a medium ground ball to second base. That's what 74 means. Medium ground ball out to second base. If the infield's back, you know, blah, blah, blah. If there's certain runners on, if the infield's in, if there's certain runners on, etc., etc. In this case, it was simply a 7-4, which means he rolled the ball to second base, 74, and he does like his number systems to match the numbers that you would associate with you know, the four position is the second base, so 74 is the second base, right? So Cano, he rolls it to Cano, and it's actually a pop-up to second base. Is that what it was? Pop-up 74? No, 74 is a medium ground ball to second. Okay. So it's a medium ground ball to second base. Simply an out. The pitcher wins the matchup. Done. Right? Boom. So there you go. So that, again, is super slow. Brett Garner rolls it to Cano, and that'll be the out. Or, I'm sorry, Austin Jackson will roll it to Cano at second base. He throws to first. And, you know, nothing fancy, and we don't need anything more, and we can move on. Boom. Nice. So we click on reset, right? And that clears the screen, and everything goes. You can see it's now updated. 1 out. We're in the top of the first. You can see the little out right there. Oh, this is what inning it is. First inning. Sorry. This is the amount of outs you have here. And so now it's Will Rhymes is up. And again, we're going to go through a couple of these slow, especially if we haven't seen them before. And the first thing we do, what do? We get a count, right? Boom, let's get a count. So it's 0-1 again. So we rolled a 21. Now, if you guys remember, I even remember this from just a couple minutes ago. We looked at CC Sabathia's card. It was like 6-22 was an 0-1 count, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Let's look. Let's go back to CC here. It was from 7-24 was 0-1, right? So, yeah, we got the same count. So, Will Rhymes losing a point. He loses a point because he's 0-1. So, Will Rhymes, so if we look at Will Rhymes versus a left-handed pitcher, he's a 17. He's pretty good against lefties. 17 versus right-handers, he's only a 15, right? So he's a 17, which is not bad. But here's the thing. He's not as good against the infield or the outfield. He's only a 10 versus infield and outfield. Versus right-handed pitchers, he's a 13 or 12, which means what that simulates is he got a lot more hits off of right-handed pitchers. But he got a lot more walks, I believe, a lot more walks than strikeouts against left-handers. That's why he would have a higher stat there. That's just my take on it. But you can see how each of the players in the different ratings, you can start to put a little thing together and say, oh, okay. So he's a 17. But not as good. He's not going to get as many hits against the infield or outfield. But we'll see what happens here. So we've got our count. He's a 17. He's a -1 now because of the 0-1 count. And so now he's only a 16. And now I got to guess fastball or breaking ball. And this time we're going to go breaking ball. And for CC Sabathia, we're going to let him go random. I'm not going to, obviously, picking one for him would be kind of defeating the purpose. I'm going to go random. Let's see if he gets it. And now let's roll the dice. Bam. Let's see what happens. Okay. All right. Here we go. So, we got a left-hander up there, Will Rhymes, because I can see he's a lefty. So first thing we do, we get our count, right? Boom, we got our count. And now we check the percentile dice, 96. And against the lefty, we look down the column. Is it against? So here's the things that would happen. If it's 0 to 3, it's going to be a power check. If it's 4 or 5, it's going to be a pitcher check. If it's 6, it's a catcher check. If it's 7 or 8, it's the first baseman. If it's 9 to 17, it's the second baseman. If it is 18 to 23, it's the third baseman. If it's 24 to 31, it's the shortstop. If it's 32 to 35, it's the left field. If it's 36 to 39, it's the center field. If it's 40 to 43, it's the right field. And if it's 44 to 95, which is, again, a big section, that's that batter-pitcher matchup. And there's also 96 to 99, which is park check. We rolled a 96. Well, guess what happened? Oh, this is interesting. We got a park check. So we're going to the park. Oh, my gosh. Are you kidding me? We're going to the park. All right, so we're going to look at where our positioning is on our outfielders, where they're positioned, and I'm going to show you this next pitch where you can adjust all this stuff here in a minute. I'm going to show you this, but just give me a second. Okay, a lot to take in on this one play, but once you understand, because this looks pretty intimidating, but it's not once you understand it. Okay, so here we go. So now we know we've got a 96. We know we're going to the park check. We got to find out who won the matchup between CC Sabathia and Will Rhymes. Well, Will Rhymes, if we go, normally we're going to be going pitcher or batter versus pitcher or batter versus outfielders. Well, there is no batter versus the outfield, right? Or the park. There's no. So when you get this result, you automatically roll on your hitter's card. So if we go back here, you can see this is CC Sabathia's card. You will notice there's no result anywhere on there. So it didn't come off his card, which makes perfect sense. So what we actually have to do is click on the hitter's card, okay? And if we go to the hitter's card, you can see that it's highlighted versus left-handed pitchers. He has a power of -5. Power of -5, okay? So what we do whenever you get a ballpark check, you're going to take those 5 dice and you're going to roll them again. You're going to roll percentile again. Or you're going to roll all the dice. You're going to roll all those dice again. Because remember, sometimes you get all your results in one time, but sometimes you need a second roll. So in this case, the first dice roll came out and Rhymes rolled a 96, which means we're going to the ballpark. And so now we rolled them again. Okay. So the first 2 numbers is percentile dice again, and it tells us what column we're looking at. So we rolled 16%. You can see all these numbers go from 0 all the way up to 99. So when you roll the percentile dice, it's going to tell you which column the batter hit it. Hit it. There you go. All right. So in our case, it rolled a 16, which means it's going to be in column C, and you can actually see the little baseball shows us where it actually went to. We were in column C because we're at 16%, so 16 is between 12 and 19. So you can see it went down, you can see it coming down here. And then the 20-sided dice tells us how far it went. And you can see it goes everywhere from 1 all the way up to 20, which is a 20-sided dice. So now, looking at this chart, you now understand percentile dice tells us left or right where it went, and the D20 shows us how far it went. So in our case, he rolled an 18, right? So he rolled an 18, which is way out of here. Look at that, which would normally be way out of here, but it's not. Why is it not in row 18? Like, he rolled an 18. Well, the reason is because, if we go back to Will Rhymes, nope, not this one. Let's go to this one, which will be easier to show you. He's got a power rating versus left-handers of -5. He doesn't hit a lot of home runs. So 18 minus 5, 13. 13, there we go, 13. So that's why it ended up where it ended up. 13. So now if we look at the 13 row and we go over to C, you can see that's where the baseball landed, right there. Boom. So, obviously, if the baseball lands past the wall, it's a home run. So if it would have landed here, home run, gone. Out here, anywhere out there is home run. If it hits the wall, there's some special rules on hitting the wall, which I'm not going to get into and cover right now. Okay? And so, obviously, if you would have hit this one over here, if you would have rolled a 0 to 5, he would have went over this wall and it would have hit that wall, because he went 13 distance. So he is just, with the -5, he's just not gonna hit a home run. He's just not powerful enough. Anyways, so that's where the baseball ended. So your outfielders will automatically catch anything that's in their zone. So any ball that comes to their zone, and anything in an adjacent zone. So if it would have landed over here or back here or up here or here, they have to do basically a fielding catch to catch the ball in those zones, because they're running after that ball and they might be able to get to it. They might not, but anything outside of that, based upon where it lands, is going to be an automatic either double or triple, and there's some rules that I'm not going to get into here because I would have to sit here and read them to you, and I'm not going to just read them. There's rules on that. So most assuredly, it's going to be a double. Like, it almost went out of the ballpark. It went way over this guy's head, and he didn't catch it. And so you can see now, as a defender, right? If you are playing against somebody and you see someone come up that's a -5, you might want to pull your fielders in a little bit better. Bring them closer, because you don't need to have them out as far, because he's not going to hit the ball as far. Or you might see them adjust left or right if they're pull hitters. That's what these numbers are here. After a left-handed pitcher, he's a +0, which means it goes wherever he rolls. If it's a minus, it goes left. And if it's a plus, he would pull it to the right. So in this case, he hits both lefties and righties dead straight. Wherever the ball, whatever number he rolls. Now you'll see other hitters. Let's see if Austin Jackson, he wasn't a pull hitter either. Let's see, is Cabrera a pull hitter? He's a -1. So he tends to pull things left because it's a minus. So he's going to go one space to the left. So he tends to pull everything to the left. Now, as a Yankee, right, if I'm playing against this player, I might move my outfield one space over because Cabrera tends to pull. And that's why when we talked about this, you see these little pieces and the playing board, because you use those little pieces and the playing board. What's going on, Thomas? How you doing, buddy? Al Red Sox fan, how you doing, everybody? Delta Ray Studios, how is everyone? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see everyone. So, yeah, we're going through this slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the matchup. In this case, again, we went through this super slow because understanding this complex sheet is very simple once you understand it. Now, you guys know, percentile dice just shows us which angle it's going. And then based upon the D20, it shows us how far he hit it, plus or minus his power rating. And if he hits it way out there, it's probably a double. And there's some rules on triples as well. But again, there's certain requirements that you have to get. Speed with the runner, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, it's a nice double for Will Rhymes, and we're going to move on. So you can see Will Rhymes is here at second base. And we got Ordonez is coming up to the plate here. CC gives up a double. And now you can see what we can do. There are little adjustments here for all of our different players. I can actually tell all of our players, all our defensive players, move all infielders in. See, and I actually move them in. Do you see that? Like if you're playing in, right? Or you can put them back where they belong. You can shift them left. You can shift them right. Wherever you think the ball tends to go. Like if you wanted to guard the lines, like Rodriguez, where's Rodriguez? I might, later in the game, I might move Rodriguez over to guard the line down there. So that, like if we're winning by a couple runs late in the game, he's guarding the line. If you're playing your infield in, like you actually play your infield in, you move them on the board. So right now I'm just going to keep everything kind of standard. You can actually say whether or not you're going to hold the runner at second or at second here. And if I do that, you notice what happens. It automatically moves the player to a position that he is going to be at. So now I got a little bit of a hole over here on the right-hand side because I am using that player to help cover that position. So right now I'm going to turn that off. I'm just showing you different strategies and why you have the little pieces and you have the little board because you're going to need them because you're going to be moving things around on your playing board. This is a tactical World War II strategy game. First thing we're going to do, get the count. Right? Boom. It is a 1-1 count. So no adjustment. He's got a +1 and a -1, so he's just regular numbers, right? We're going to guess fastball. And for CC Sabathia, you can see now, because we have a runner at second, we have all kinds of new options. Like you can do like intentional walk and pitch outs. Like if you think the runner is going to try and take off, you can do pitch outs now. You can charge some of your infielders because you think he's going to try to bunt. There's all kinds of options you can do, but for simplicity's sake, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to say random pitch for Sabathia. Let's see if we get it right. Here we go. All right, here we go. So, percentile dice. Let's see what happens. What came out? We rolled a 55 against a right-hander. 55 means we rolled between 49 and 94. So we got the batter-pitcher matchup again. We got this batter-pitcher matchup. Something's probably going to happen. It's either going to come off the batter card or the pitcher's card. Now, who won the matchup? Well, Ordonez is a 16. Will Ordonez versus the left-handed pitcher is an 18. But he lost 2 points because he guessed wrong on the pitch, I bet. Yes, he guessed fastball and he got a breaking ball. So he guessed wrong, so he loses 2 points. So his 18 drops to a 16. CC Sabathia versus a right-hander throwing a breaking ball is 7 points. So 16 minus 7 is 9. So 1 to 9, the batter wins the matchup, we rolled a 4. That means the batter won the matchup. So let's look at what happened with the batter. If we bring up the cards, we can click on the hitter, and you can see against a left-handed pitcher, and the pitcher, he rolled a 55. What is a 55, you might ask? A 55 is, good question, by the way. A 55 is a slow ground ball to third base. We had a runner on seconds, which was right here. So it's a 5-3 put out, and a runner advances one base. There's your outcome right there. Boom. 5-3 put out, runner advances a base. So even though the batter, again, won the matchup, doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be the greatest. He's not hitting a home run or getting an automatic hit. But if we look at his card one more time, you can see that he does have some hits on there. So that would have been... Okay. So anyways, you can see Rhymes here. Doesn't line up to third base because I think it's because of my super wide screens have everything kind of stretched out. So I've got one of those 3,440... wide screens. It's one of the super wide screens, so I think that's why the runner or the base runners are not even near where they're supposed to be. Anyways, so we have 2 outs now, and we're resetting. And what are we going to do? We're going to get the pitch, or we're going to get the count. And the count against Cabrera. So Cabrera is up. Remember, we already looked at Cabrera. He is a pull hitter, -1 versus lefties. So I'm going to shift everyone in the outfield. Gardner, I'm going to shift you 1 left. Granderson, I'm going to shift you left. And Swisher, I'm going to shift you left. So I'm shifting everyone in the outfield out left, which is cool because you see this happen all the time, right? And now you can actually, be the manager and take control of your players' positions and make it matter. Okay, so Cabrera, let's get his count. He's 1-2, which means he's down a point. +1 -2 means he's -1. So whatever his ratings are, he's down a point. Now he's got to get his fastball or breaking ball, and I know CC, right? CC against right-handers is better at fastball. He's going to try and throw me a fastball. He wants the points, so I'm going to guess fastball. And for CC Sabathia, I'm just going to let the computer pick it. So let's see what we guessed. No, breaking ball. Damn. So, all right, percent down dice. Let's see what happened. Again, percent down dice versus right-handers is a 10. Oh, here we go. So, we're going to have a chance here. It's a 10. So, 10 falls between 9 and 17. So, it's going to second base. It's going to second baseman. So, this is basically between Cabrera and the second baseman. Can Cabrera hit the ball past the second baseman, or is the second baseman going to make the play and throw it to first and get him out or whatever, right? So it's between those two. So if you look and see Cabrera against the infielders is a 17 with the left-handed pitcher versus infielders. He's a 17, pretty decent. But he lost a point because it was 1-2. Right? 1 ball, 2 strikes, so he's down a point. So his 17 goes to his 16, and then he gets fastball, and it was a breaking ball, so he loses another 2. So his 16 goes to a 14. So Cabrera, as you can see on our screen up here, if you're looking, like if you're just playing the game, you can say, oh, 14, oh, that's pretty good, but it could have been 18 if he would have had a better count. And if he would have guessed the pitch right, he could have had a much better result. So 14 -7, which is Cano's Defensive ability, if we look at Cano here, at second base, he is a 7. So we're going to subtract the 7. So 14 minus 7 is 7. So 1 to 7 on a 20-sided dice. Then Cabrera wins this matchup. On a 8 or higher, then Cano is going to win the matchup. We rolled on the 20-sided dice a 9. So it's coming off of Cano's card. So you can see if we look at the pitcher card, there's no result, which makes sense. If we go to the hitter card, there's no result. Like if it would have come off the hitter card, a 10 is a base hit. That's a single. So if it would have if Cabrera would have won the matchup, he would have had a single, is what it's showing you there. But it didn't come off his card. It came off the fielder's card. So we look at the fielder. In this case, that is Cabrera, and that is a 64. It's a ground out to second. Cano throws to first, inning over. Boom. So, we reset, and we go to the bottom of the first. Now, we got Verlander pitching. Verlander, he is a right-handed pitcher, so we're going to be looking at all the right-handed stuff on the batter's cards. And basically, look at Verlander's a 10-10, 10-10 versus lefties and righties equal fastball and breaking ball. And that's what you want when you're looking at really good pitchers. You want them to have the same result, because if I'm a 10 at fastball and an 8 in breaking ball, I might as well throw more fastballs, because even if you guess fastball, you're still only going to get 8 points. You're still going to get. I'm still going to get the +2 because I got a better, higher stat in that, if that makes kind of sense. But for Verlander, he's 10 straight across the board. He's going to be very random. What he's going to pick, because he's equally as good. So Brett Garner, he gets his count against a right-hander. So Brett Garner versus right-handers, he starts at 15. Okay, let's get the count. He's 0-1, so he's down to 14 already. He lost a point. He's down to 14. He guesses right, he can go up to 12, or he can go up to 16. If he guesses wrong, he's going to go down to 12. So we're going to guess fastball. And for the computer, again, we're just going to random pitch it. And he guessed wrong. So he's down to a 12. 12, well, let's see what happens, right? So let's go and go through it again, nice and slow. 40 versus a left-hander. 40 means it's between Gardner and the center fielder. Is he going to get a hit, or is the center fielder going to make the play? So the center fielder is Jackson. Jackson's an 8. That is really good. You can compare him to Ordonez, which is a 2. You can see the difference your good players are going to make. Like -8 is really bad. So 12 minus 8 is 4. So 1 to 4 on a 20-sided dice. Garner's going to win this matchup. Otherwise, it's going to be Jackson winning the matchup. Well, we rolled a 2, fortunately for Brett Garner. So this matchup is going to come off of his card. In fact, when we go to the hitter card, you will see it's highlighted in green. This is where the result came from. And it's versus right-handed pitchers in the outfield. He rolled a 70, and that happens to be... 70 is outfield deep fly ball out. It went to the outfield. How do I know it went to the outfield? Because our original roll was a 40. Which means it went to the center fielder. So the pitcher will tell us where the ball is going and who's going to be matching up with the batter. That's what we're finding with this percentile dice. Fortunately, Brett Gardner won the matchup, but unfortunately, he got a bad roll, which is a 3 and a 1, which, if you look at the hitter, again, 20 would have been a double. Here's a double there. Here, I think the rest of them are outs. So he's got a couple doubles and, not too much, but that's just a break sometimes. But anyways, that's Brett Gardner. He flies out and 1 away. Derek Jeter's up. Derek Jeter against a right-hander. Starts off at a 14. Right? So let's get the count. 0-1, so he's down to a 13. If he guesses right, he'll go up to a 15. If he guesses wrong, he's going to go down to an 11. So that's how big guessing the pitch is. We're going to guess fastball. We'll go random pitch. And he guessed right. So he went up to 15. Verlander's at 10. So 1 to 5 on a 20-sided dice. And fortunately for Derek Jeter, he rolled a 3. So he won the matchup. That's incredible. So we're going to... so we rolled a 59. So that's going to be batter-pitcher matchup. And you can see on Verlander would have won the matchup. 43 are strikeouts. Strikeout. So 43 is a strikeout. And you can see on Jeter's card, it's a 56, which is a roller to short. 6, again, 6 position, shortstop, so it's a roller to short. So that'll be an out for Jeter. And is 2 away. And that brings up Mark Teixeira. Get the count. Teixeira is 1 and 2, so he's, wow. I mean, whew. Verlander, man, he is nasty with these. Let's see, what did we roll? We rolled a 66. So Verlander, 66 is going to be, 1 and 2 count. So he has got a lot of results that are put the hitters in the hole. So -1 point. I mean, every point is valuable. Every point is valuable, as you can see. Okay, we're going to guess breaking ball, and Verlander's going to go random. And let's see what happens. All right, 26 means it's going to be between the batter and the shortstop. So Peralta, who won the matchup, Teixeira has an 11. Peralta is a 5. That means 6 or less. The 20-sided dice is being very nice to the Yankees. That is a 4, which means once again that the Yankees win the matchup. But a 12 is rolled, and that is going to be a 50 and 50 plus whatever the position is. So in this case, it makes it a 56 because it's the shortstop that was hit to. You can see it went to the shortstop. So 50 is basically an out. It just means it's an out. And what you have to do is just, depending on which position it went to, you adjust it. 51 is the pitcher, 52 is the catcher, 53 is the first baseman, 54 is the second baseman. So you change the 50 into whatever position it went to. Same thing with 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s as well. That's why you'll see a lot of 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, because it's either a fly out, a ground out, deep fly, or soft grounder or hard grounder, depending on whether it's a 50 or 60 number. That makes, hopefully, some good sense. So it's a ground out. So that was 3. The Yankees won all 3 of the matchups, and they got a 1-2-3 out, which, again, I said in the beginning, you normally want to win the matchups because better things will happen. Unfortunately, they didn't get very good rolls, and you don't always get good results. I mean, obviously, even like Stratomatic, right? Even if you roll on the batter card, you're still only getting hits every once in a while, right? You're not getting a hit every single time, but you got a better chance of getting a hit this way. So we're going to the top of the second inning. That was a long explanation to get through one inning, but I think that is a good way to kind of introduce it, nice and slow and easy, and show you guys. So we're up with who's up? CC Sabathia and Victor Martinez. Let's go through it, and I'm gonna give everyone a second before I just start talking, so you can look at the numbers and say, okay, I got it. Okay, I think I understand. This is what I would read. This is what I would think. So I'll give you guys a second. So obviously the first thing we do is get a count. So Victor Martinez versus a right-handed, he's a 19. That's really high. 19. The first guy, Austin Jackson, was a 15. So that's, I'm sorry, versus lefties. So he's an 18, right? Because he's going up against CC. So still, 18 is pretty good. 18 is very good, actually. So let's get his count. And it's 0-0. So no bonus, no penalty. So he's at 18 points. And that's what all those dice there, all we're doing is looking at the first two numbers, the percentile dice, to get the roll of the count. So you can ignore all the other dice. I'm not sure why they're all there. Maybe there's once in a while you might need them for something else, probably. Now we're going to guess the pitch. Are we going to guess fastball? Are you going to guess curveball? And Martinez is going to be a right-handed batter today versus right-handers. Again, CC much better with the fastball. So I'm going to guess fastball, because if he goes with the fastball, he's going to get 9 points. If he gives us the breaking ball, he's still going to get 9 points, because he'll get the 7 for the breaking ball, and then we'll get the -2. So it's like giving him 9 points. But we're gonna guess fastball, and we're gonna go random with CC and see if we guessed right or we guessed right. We guessed fastball. Nice. So in this case, it was we got our first power check. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time you've seen this. We rolled a 0-1. Normally, if you roll 0-0, 0-1, and 0-2, those are your power checks. Those are your big boy hits, right? Home runs, power drives. You're checking the power. Obviously, you want to have a lot of power for this. If you roll a power check, it automatically comes off of the power column versus the lefty or versus the right-hander, depending on if you're facing left or righty. You automatically roll or get the result on the batter's card under his power column. In this case, he rolled a 49, and that is going to be a 49 is home run to right field. All runners score. Wow, there you go. It's gone. It's gone. That was kind of anticlimactic, wasn't it? Sabathia makes the delivery. It's hit hard by Martinez. It's a long fly ball to right field. Swisher back. There's not going to get it. It's a home run by Martinez. That's Martinez's first home run of the year. So, a lot of big hits. 49, as you can see, is home run. So 48 is a home run to center, I think. And so your power, anytime you roll power on the pitcher, which is usually, 0, 0-1, 0-2, 0-3, somewhere really, really low like that, it's going to come directly off the batter's card on the power column under whichever it's a lefty or right-handed pitcher. In this case, we rolled a 10. 10 was a 49, which happens to be really good. That's a home run. So it is 1-0 Detroit. So now you've seen power. It's good. It's good we see these things because, it'll make you that much more familiar with the game. So it's a good thing he rolled like 0-1 really, really low like that because he rolled a 18 on the 20-sided dice. And as we talked about a while ago, the 20-sided dice is technically the most important dice of all those dice you're rolling. And like that would be the dice that I would focus on the most if I was playing. Because I would look down and I would say, oh, 18. Oh, the batter's not going to win the matchup on this one. Well, fortunately for him, he would have lost the matchup for sure. But it was 0-1, which means there wasn't a matchup. It was just a power check on the batter, which he passed with flying colors. So fortunately, sometimes you look at the dice and go, oh, this is going to be bad for the batter. And boom, look at what happened. It was actually good. All right, so 1-0. Let's go to the next batter here. So we got a 0-0 count. So again, nothing. It's just going to be straight up numbers for Ryan Rathborn versus left-hander. He's only a 13 versus the pitcher. 16 versus infield and outfield. So pretty decent versus getting hits at least. Okay. Again, this time I'm going to give you guys a second to see the numbers before I tell you the results. So you guys can kind of get an understanding of just looking at things without me explaining everything. So I'm just going to guess fastball and go with the random pitch. And there's the results. Give you guys a second just to look at it over and see what you think. See if you understand what would possibly the process you would use to get these results. And then I'm going to go through it. And we'll do this a couple times. And then I'll maybe do a few plays a little bit faster and see if you guys can keep up with me. If you have any questions, type them in the chat now. Okay. So first thing, always, you can see we only use one roll to get most of the results. You only use one roll. Occasionally, you'll need a second roll. In this thing, this time we only needed one roll. 75 means it's go down versus a right-handed batter till we find the 75. It means it's versus pitcher. So we got a batter-pitcher matchup. Again, a lot of times it's going to result in either an easy out, strikeout, wild pitch, pass balls, walks, strikeouts, things like that. So, who wins the matchup? Well, Rathborn is a 13. He has a 0-0 count, which means no adjustment by that. But he guessed the pitch right, so he's going to go to up 2 because he guessed it right. So he's going to go from a 13 to a 15. 15 minus 9 for Sabathia is 6. So anywhere from 1 to 6, he would win the matchup. But he didn't. He rolled a 9. So the pitcher wins the matchup, which you can obviously see because the result popped up in your face. So hopefully you realize that, oh yeah, CC probably won the matchup. And then we simply go versus right-handed batters. He did a fastball. So you look under the fastball column and we look at a 10. And that is a 95. Which again is a pop out to third. And just like Apple, once you know the numbers, you learn them. They're very quick. So 95 is a pop out to third. Well, it makes sense. Nines, any nines are pop outs. And then 93 would be a pop out to first. 94 would be a pop out to second, etc., etc. So 5 is going to be third base. We know that. All right. So that's, you can see that. Boom. 75. Okay. It's going to be pitcher, batter. One of them's going to win. Okay. It was a 9. So that's kind of in the middle. It can go either way. What was the numbers? Rathborn was a 15. Sabathia's a 9. So Sabathia's about a, just on average, he's a 9, 10, 9, 9, and a 7. It's kind of his weakest pitch is versus right-handers. He's in the breaking ball. Is his weakest pitch. So yeah, 15 minus 9 is 6. He rolled a 9, so it's going to probably come on the pitcher's card. Okay, I think I'm understanding a little bit, Chester. Cool. Let's do another play. Reset. Boom. This time I'm going to hide. I'm going to hide that box from popping up so you guys can't cheat me. Here we go. All right, so get the count. This is Peralta. Let's just take a look at Johnny Peralta first. First is a left-handed batter. He's a 14. Okay, keep that in mind. He's a 14. His pitch count is a 2 and 1. I'm not going to tell you what happens with his amount, but he's a 2 and 1. All right, and now I'm going to guess. Breaking ball. I think CC is going to try to mess with us. So, and then we're going to randomize for CC. And again, I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to see what you think happened and where you think it's going to go and who you think the outcome was. And okay. All right. Well, this one should be super easy because we just went through this not more than like 2 plays ago for the first time. Remember I told you 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, maybe 0, 3 on some pitchers, maybe even 0, 4 on some pitchers are your power checks, right? Those really low numbers. It doesn't matter what the 20-sided dice is. You roll on the power column of that player, of that batter, right? The hitter. So if we, I got to bring the cards up. There we go. If we go to the hitter's card, you can see versus left-handers, which is what CC Sabathia is. We go to the power column and we look at a 6, 7, 8, which is going to be a 77. So that's going to be the left field because it's a 7, right? So 77 is probably a deep fly. Let's see what 70s are. 77 is deep flies. So the 70 numbers are deep flies. And of course, 7 is a left field. I figured that out pretty easily. You guys should be able to do the same. All right, and we're going to just close that. And I'm not going to let you guys cheat for the next one. Okay, so as you could see, CC Sabathia deals to Peralta. It's a deep fly to left. Garner sprints back to the warning track and reaches up to make the play. So with 2 outs now, it's going to be Brad Inge. Versus left-handers, he's a 16, infield 13, outfield 15. All right, just to keep your numbers so you have an idea. First thing we do, get the count. He's 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Again, 89 is the percentile dice. All we do is normally we look at the pitcher, but remember, 80 to 99 are always on the batter's card. So we would actually go to the batter's card and look at, what do we roll? 89. We would go to Brad Inge and look at 89, and that is 1 and 2 on Brad Inge. So if you're wondering, how come he's got a 1 and 2? Now you know. Always 81 to 99 are on the batter's cards. So it's coming off of his card. So if really good hitters, they're going to have better counts on there. Bad hitters, not as good counts. So it's 1 and 2. Again, I'm not going to tell you what the outcome is, but I will tell you, versus left-handers, he's a 16. And 13 versus infield and 15 versus outfield. And those numbers will adjust based upon his hitter count and whether he guesses the pitch right. So I'm going to guess fastball, and I'm going to go random pitch, and let's see. Looks like we got a double roll. So we had 2 rolls to get this outcome. So we rolled the dice, and then we couldn't get the outcome. We had to roll them again for some reason. So let's see what we had to do. I'm going to give you guys a second to think about the numbers, visualize and think about what you're seeing there, and seeing if any of this is making any sense whatsoever. Remember, the percentile dice are, you're going to look at the picture card and it's going to tell us who the matchup is. Is it between him and the batter? Is it between one of his fielders and the batter? Is it the park? Is it who's coming into play, right? So just like we talked about a little bit ago, right? The really low numbers, 0, 1, 2, are power checks, right? So anytime you roll really, really low, it's the power checks. Anytime you roll really, really high, so usually 99, 98, 97, 96, 95, that's a park check. That means we're looking at positioning of the outfielders and the infielders and the ballpark to find out what happened. So that's why there was a second roll, because now what we have to do, I'm going to move this out of the way, is get the percentile dice, which is a 72, which again is going to tell us what? It's going to tell us what direction the ball was hit. We're going to look at 72, which is going to be column K, right? Column K. Except we have to look at Brad Inge and see that he is actually a -2. So he's going to move that way left, way left. He hooks the ball way left. Even against right-handers, he hits it left. And if you were playing smart, you would position your players probably for him to pull the ball left, because that's where he's going to hit it. And in this case, the second number is a 15. What does 15 tell us? That tells us how far he hit it, plus or minus his power number. Versus left-handers, it's a 0. So he hits lefties really good. Versus right-handers, he's a -5, so not very far. But versus lefties, it's a 0, so he's going to hit it a 15. He rolled a 15. He hit it a 15. You look at 15, and we rolled a 72, which is column K, 68 to 73, but he moved it 2 to the left. Remember, 2 to the left because of Brad Inge. I'm just trying to explain this. Again, he's a -2, so minus goes to the left, plus goes to the right. So a -2 is going to move it 2 columns to the left. He rolled a 72. So that is column K. 15. It would have landed right there. Boom. But he moves it 2 to the left. And because he does that, boom, boom, that's where the ball lands, which means it hits the wall and bounces back into play. If we would have hit it in any other, if he wouldn't have pulled it, it would have been a home run. But because he pulled it, it actually hits the wall out there at about the 495 mark. Maybe the 400 mark, dead on. Dead center. He almost hit that one dead center. But it's still going to be a double for Brad Inge. So that's interesting. Woo, we're going to keep the inning going. Brad Inge is going to second base now. And that is the third hit for Detroit, up 1-0 here in the top of the second inning. And yes, we're going very, very slow. So let's look at Avita. Avita's a -2 as well. So do we shift our outfielders? Garner to the left and Granderson to the left and Swisher 1 or 2 to the left? Maybe even move Chris Anderson over another spot? So we have a huge hole right there, but sometimes you want to do that because if he hits it straight, it's going to come right over here. And again, we could look at the power rating. He's a 0, so no adjustment. But if you get, say, the power ratings go from -5, which are terrible because that subtracts from the distance, to a +5, which are huge. It's going to be a big hitter. In that case, you might want to move your outfielders out farther. So I'm just going to slide the outfielders over, and let's get a count against Avila. 0-2 is the count. Woo! And we're going fastball, random pitch. And give you a second. So, percentile is a 12. Let's see if you think with the 12. So that falls. Usually, again, the really low numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3 are your power numbers. And then from 3 or 4 all the way up to about 40 are all your position players. So anytime you roll somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to say 40 is going to be your position players. That's a 12. It's going to be one of the position players somewhere in there. In this case, it's going to be second base. So it's going to be between the batter and the second baseman. Can Cano make the play? Well, we're going to take Cano's defense of 7. Holy cow, we moved our infielders too somehow. Do we forget to move those guys back somehow? I forget. But Cano, that's fine. He's a 7. Avila is versus left-handed pitchers, he's a 14. He had a -2 on the count because he was 0-2, so his 14 went to 12. And then not sure why he got a 12 there because he was a 14. Oh, no. Versus infielders, not versus pitcher, Jester. Versus infielders, he's a 16. -2 because of the count, 0-2. Jumps into a 14. And then he lost the pitching matchup because he guessed fastball was a breaking ball. So he loses another 2, so going to drop him to a 12. 12 -7 is 5, but the 13 means he lost the matchup. It's going to be rolled on the fielder's card because the fielder made the play. And you can see on Cano's second baseman, we look at the 11. That's a 94. 94s are hard ground balls. 4 is second baseman. Throws it to first for the third out. And that's going to do it. So, all right. What's going on, Philip? How you doing, buddy? Hopefully this is making some sense for everyone out there. I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I think I'm making it a little easier for you guys to understand, hopefully. Because, in this game, you can just click, 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 and let the game play. But if you're not understanding what's going on, then it's not as fun. Because I'm like, once you understand what's going on, and you're doing the matchups, and you're doing the different plays and stuff, you're like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So, let's go. So, it's Verlander versus A-Rod. A-Rod, 3-0 count. Holy cow, what did he roll? He rolled a 77 on Verlander. 77 on Verlander. Sure enough, that's a 3-0 count. Look at that. So, Alex Rodriguez versus right-handed pitcher. He's a 15. +3, because of that, is going to bring him up to 18. Now, if he gets a pitch right, he could be up to 20. 20, and we know Verlander's a 10, right? So getting up to 20 means it's basically a 50-50 chance that A-Rod can win the matchup, which is huge against Verlander. We're going to guess breaking ball. And random by the computer, it's wrong. Of course he guessed wrong. 31 is going to go to some kind of position player. And 8 means 17 -5. Because Peralta is only a 5 defender. That's a 12. It rolled an 8. So A-Rod wins the matchup. We go to the hitter. So this is A-Rod's card versus right-handed pitcher, which is what Verlander is. He has an infield, a 10. It's a base hit single. So you can see 10, lots of 10s. He's got lots of singles. Must be a pretty good hitter. This kid might make something of himself one of these days. So base hit for A-Rod as you can see, kind of outdueled Verlander. Verlander 3-0. You just go, wow, wait a minute. I mean, in a normal game, like that doesn't make, like you don't even think about it. But now it's like Verlander's been dominating these batters. Like you're getting -1, -2 every time, and then A-Rod comes up and he's a +3. Wow, that really stands out. All right, let's get a count for Cano. It's 2-2. 2-2 for Cano. And Cano, don't you Cano, he is no pull. He's a 14. Cano, we're going to go fastball random by Verlander. Give you guys a second to see if you think you might know what had happened on this play. 44. All right, so 44, like I said, anywhere from like 4, 5, 6, 7, somewhere in that nice low numbers, up to about 40, 45 is going to be a position player. In our case, 44 is just barely the right fielder. So it's going to be the right fielder, so it's going to come down to the right fielder who happens to be super bad. He is Ordonez, which is a 2. So 15 minus 2 is 13. Unfortunately, that's not good enough because you rolled a 14. So the defender wins the matchup. So what happens? We look at the card, the defender's card. In this case, the fielder's, right fielder's card. And it's a 19, which happens to be single to right field. We had a runner at first who is going to, runner may attempt to advance 2 bases versus right field. Ooh, I wonder, does it ask us? Is it asking this? Cano sips to the box. Here's the delivery by Verlander. Swung on. Lifts a little blooper to right field. Ordonez runs on it. Fills in. And fires it into the infield. So it is going to be 2 on with nobody out for the Yankees. Runner at second, Rodriguez. Runner first is Cano. That brings up Austin Jackson. Austin Jackson, each batter is also rated in bunting and hit and run. Not home run, hit and run. Hit and run. And bunting, he's actually an 18, which is a lot better than his 13. Does he want to bunt over a run? Austin Jackson. Do you want to bunt over a run? You know, get some runners into position there. Oh, wait, it's not him. What am I thinking? It is Swisher up. Swisher's up. I don't know what I was thinking. He's only an 11 bunter. He's terrible. 14 at hit and run. I was going to try some of these so you can see, but there are, once we get the board game, I'll have to show you. There's some charts and stuff that you need for bunting and hitting, running, and there's some rules on the hitting and running. So I don't want to really, I mean, I can kind of go over what you do, but there's some specific rules on them. And I'm just trying to get you used to what you're trying to do in this game. That's all. Nick Swisher's not bunting. Let's get a count for Nicky, and then we can decide. You always can get the count first. He's 1 and 2, so if he tries to lay down a bunt and misses, he's out of there. We're going to guess breaking ball and random pitch by Verlander, and they're going to let him swing. And we rolled a 33, so it's probably going to be to a position player. And an 8. Swisher is an 11 because he guessed wrong. It's Peralta at shortstop, which is a 5. 11 minus 5 is 6. So it looks like Swisher won the matchup. If we go to the hitter's card, no. 11 to do. Oh, right. He didn't win the matchup. 11 minus 5 is 6. He rolled an 8, so it's on the fielding card, which makes complete sense because I'm like, wait a minute. Hello? 66. 66. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. That was a hit to the shortstop. I know it's shortstop because it's a 6. 66. Hard ground ball to the shortstop. We had a runner at first and second. Right? First and second. And we had the infield back. It is a 6-4-3 double play. And runner in second advances to third. There you go, right there. And that's exactly what just happened. We had Peralta to Rhymes over to Cabrera. 2 runners out, and Rodriguez moves up to third base. So with 2 outs now, the Yankees bring up Jorge Posada. Let's get a count on Posada. He is 1-2. 1-2. We're going to guess fastball, random pitch by Verlander. And did we guess right? We did. Okay. So Posada 16. Verlander's at 10, which means we needed a 6. We rolled an 87. So anywhere around 40 to about 85, 40 to 85, somewhere in that range, about that range, is where you have the pitcher and batter matchups, right? So when I look at the pitcher's card, I can clearly see really, really low is the power. Everything else is different position players. And then we get this huge gap, which goes usually from about 40 to 45 all the way up to 80 to 85 or 90 or to 95 in this case for Verlander because he's really good, right? So we have this huge gap everywhere from 46 to 95. That's going to be a matchup between him and the batter. And he's going to win most of these matchups. So in this case, he wins the matchup. He chose a fastball. So we look versus left-handers. He rolled the fastball. We rolled a 4, which is a 99. 99 is a medium fly ball to right field. It's going to be a F9 for those of you scoring at home. And that's Ordonez out there in right field. And that's it. So we go through 2 innings so far. Detroit up 1-0. Now, cool thing is, some things I'm going to show you about the program. You kind of hopefully understand how to play the basic overview of the game. The concept is the batter and the pitcher, we're rolling some dice to find out who is matching up. Is it the batter and the pitcher, the batter and the fielders, or power check? Or are we looking at the ballpark? Those are usually your outcomes. There is, like I said, there's a lot of other things we haven't even talked about with bunting, hitting and running, advancing the runners after a hit, trying to stretch singles into doubles, stretching doubles into triples. What else is there? We haven't really charging the runners. We talked about moving the runners in. Let's see, where are we? Yeah, so you can move the runners out. Move your infielders in is what I'm saying. You can move your outfielders around to different positions, obviously based upon if they're pull hitters, if they pull left or pull right. If you think somebody's going to bunt, if you're going to, somebody gets on first, are you going to watch them on first because you actually need to put that player in that in that little spot because they're covering somebody at first. So now you have a hole because you'll have these line shots that come down like L. Like if Teixeira's watching first and we hit something down L, he won't have a chance to get it because he's way over here covering the guy at first base. So those plays will come. They're not going to happen all the time, but they will happen. One of the other cool features this game actually has, again, this game is designed by one rather awesome dude. And you can see this is very complex, involved, very intricate, well thought out, advanced baseball game that, like, wow, one guy came up with this. This is really, really good. The other thing you can do is you can actually click on play to have the AI play the rest of the game. If you're like, oh, you know what, I'm done with this game, or I'm done. I just want to be done with this game. You can have the AI auto finish it for you, and that's what we're going to actually do. And so I can go back to like the main screen, and you can see it's actually rolling all the dice. It's actually playing the game just as you would play it. It's 3-0. Oh wow, Detroit 3-1, 4-1. Verlander. Yankees with an error there. And Sabathia is still on the mound. And there you go. 4-1 is your final. Each team with one error. Detroit with 11 hits. The Yankees with 5. We can actually go in and it processed all the stats. You can actually copy the play-by-play text to your clipboard if you're posting it online or whatever. You can, that's the viewer thing. Okay, you can turn on or off your labels, which I think is cool. Actually, I would like to see if I could adjust the size of that. I'm sure there probably is a way. I just don't know of a way right this second. But so yeah, this is where you raise and lower the different things, whether it's the pitcher, the hitter, or the fielder. So just like a normal, really good baseball game, you're going to have your pitcher comes into play on your plays, your batter comes into play on your plays, your fielding and your defense comes into play on plays, your ballpark comes into play on plays, your power ratings come into play on some of the plays. I think we've experienced just about all of those, which is very cool because I didn't think we would. Okay, so we can actually exit out. Just looking to see if there's like anything else I want to show you on this screen. Obviously, we can go in. It'll show you the bench players that, on the bench. It shows you all of the bullpen. You can look at the actual statistics. You can look at your replay statistics. So, like, if I want to see, who's doing good, who's not doing good, who's your replay stats for your pitchers. Here's your autoplay control for the AI, and there's all the players. If you want to bring somebody in, you can do that. I mean, everyone's available and ready. They're there. They're not like hidden from you. You can't do anything with them. They're all there. So don't worry about that. Okay. So we can exit out here. We can go to the American League Central. You can see the Yankees are 0-1. Lovely. And after one complete day, we had 5 games. Played all the games. And now we obviously just go to April 1st and we can start playing through these games. And again, you can just click on, I'm ready to play the Pittsburgh and Chicago. All right, here's the actual starting lineup, right? And I can just say, okay, let's go. Here's the, this is Wrigley Field, right? And I can just say, I can auto play it through the third inning, fourth inning, fifth, sixth, seventh. I can just say play the whole game. I just want you to play it because I don't want to play it. Like we would never want to play the Cubs. Ugh. 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 1-0 Schmubs over the Pirates. Can the Pirates come back? Let's see. We're in the fifth inning already. 1-0. And we're going to 6. Still 1-0. Going to 7th. Still 1-0. 2-0. They get an insurance run in the 7th. Oh, 3 runs in the 8th. Are you kidding? What happened? We're in the 9th, in the bottom of the 9th, and they come back and win it. Oh, the Pirates with 3 runs in the 8th. They win it. Let's look at the stats. So this is the stats from the game, right? So you can look at your log. Let's go to the game log. Here's the game log. Here is the each play. Like the first play was the first inning. It was an out. 0-0 was the score. The count was 3-2. The batter was Pittsburgh. It was Tabata versus Dempster. Here was all the defenders. And the result was an out, 4-3, and the putout. And you can actually go through and look at every single play. I don't, probably has the dice roll somewhere, knowing this guy. This crazy guy that has like all this extra time. We can open the game stat file. We can print it. We can compile it. We can access new day schedule. Mini box score. Here's our mini box score. 7 hits. No home runs. I was just trying to see what they did. Let's go. We can go to the season stats. We can go to the league stats, the leaderboards. I was looking to see. So if you wanted to look at Pittsburgh and find out what the heck is going on. Hitting editor, here's your pitching editor, fielding editor, text display, special reports. I was just looking to see if there was we can save the box score. Display the box score. Okay. Extended game long. You can do it in HTML. Holy cow, look at this. This is like crazy. Oh my God. Jeez. Okay. Lots of cool stuff, man. If you like stats, you like messing around with stuff. Anyways, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of. I mean, I could probably spend an hour just going over everything you can do in this one little screen after the game is over. So there we go. And if we go to the Central Division, there we go. And Pittsburgh wins and Chicago loses. Lovely. So we're on April 1st, Arizona, Colorado. Again, you can see it. plays it very, very quickly. Say autoplay. Yes, go. It takes like, what, 20 seconds, 30 seconds maybe to play the whole game. Doesn't take very long. But you can actually see how the game is going. And 3-3 is the score right now. And 4-3 for Arizona. 4-3. Oh, 8-3. Boy, they jumped up there in the fourth inning. They had a big inning there against Colorado. Poor Colorado. Can Colorado come back at home? We're in the sixth inning now. They got a run. 8-4. Is it going to be enough? Oh, 8-7. They got 3 in the eighth or seventh. Just a run down here in the eighth. They're now in the bottom of the ninth. Can they come back? Bottom of the ninth, walk off. Oh, they tied it up. We're going extras. Yes, we are going extras. Oh, 9-8 in the 10th. 11-8 in the 10th inning. They got to run back, and that's going to do it. It is over. Unable to save the baseball file. Please try again. Okay. But that one went extras here. 10th inning. 11-9. Woo, what a game. Colorado almost won that, came back and tied it in the bottom of the ninth, and then blew it up in the 10th. Woo, that would have been a good one to play, actually. That would have been a good one. And you can see I do have the logos for Colorado and for Arizona in here, I think. There you go. So that is a look at 4th Street Baseball overview, how to play, matchups, looking at getting a count, figuring out what the pitcher is going to use against you to try and get you out, fastball, breaking ball, using that information to get a result, looking at the pitcher to find out is the batter going up against the pitcher, is the batter going up against a fielder, or is it going to be a power check or a ballpark check? And positioning all your players, as you can see, is super important. So hopefully this helps you make a decision on whether or not this would be something you would like to find out more about. Again, you can go to the 4th Street site. You can download a free, doesn't cost you anything, $0 is the amount you pay, demo of both the computer version and the card and dice version. You can download the card and dice with all the rules, cards, and everything to try it out for yourself. I would do that, but I ordered a baseball season. It's on the way. It'll be here in 2 days. I got a football and a baseball coming, so I'm going to show you guys the actual board game once it shows up. But you can print it all out. It comes with the Yankee Stadium, and I think it comes with Yankee in Boston, and it comes with Yankee Stadium, so you can play, print out a couple teams, try it out for yourself, see if it's something you're interested in. Again, download the demo of the computer if you want. $30 gets you the program. It comes with a season built into it, which is the '60s season. And then I believe it must be the 1960 season because that's the folder that's there. And then when you purchase it, you get one free season as well. So you get the program, which comes with a full season, and you get an extra season of your choice, which, of course, if you're smart, you would get the 2011, the best baseball season ever. And so you get your season of your choice for $30. Program, everything that comes with the program, and a season file for $30. Very good price. Very good price. And I think that goes for baseball, hockey, football, and basketball. I know I ordered the football and the basketball, and it was exactly the same. So I'm assuming the hockey I had ordered years ago. I've had the hockey for 3 or 4 years. I'm sure that was the same. But I'm assuming the basketball. I have not ordered the basketball yet. I probably will, because even though I'm not a basketball guy, the basketball game looks very interesting. Very interesting. So, anyways, very in depth. I told you guys when we started it was going to take a while, over 2 hours. But explaining this game is going to take a little while. It's like I said, this is a one-man program, one-man job. But man, there's so much going on with this game. It's incredible, and I just scratching the surface with this program. I mean, there is so many things to do with it, and adjustments you can make, and editing, and if you wanted to do all that stuff, I mean, you could spend a lot of time looking at stats and ratings and this, that, and the other thing, and it would be great for that. I don't personally like to do that, but if you like to do that, this would be great for it. But I think the game is very interesting. There is, it all kind of makes sense once you see it now, and hopefully you understand. Oh, yeah, okay, now. So I see the numbers now, and now they all make sense. Instead of just click, 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 right? And you're not sure what the hell is going on. You now know how to play, and knowing's half the battle. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you all next time. Until then, my friends, take care of yourselves. We'll see you all down the line.